right, welcome everybody to another Facebook Live here in the shop updates. We are going to go ahead and get started with Marc Hopkins. There's a lot of projects to talk about. However, there's very few people here right now. But that being said, we'll go ahead and move over to Marc and see what he has going on.
The only thing I've got going on at the moment is changing all these light bulbs out. So prior to doing some shop maintenance, I got wrapped up with the John designed workbench, which I need to go this way. So I got finished up with this yesterday. It's just a simple construction, Morrison tenon joinery with a side beach frame and stretchers. What's interesting about this one is we use some hardware that enables us to come around here, pull it down to see it very good. That enables us to take it apart if we need to. So this goes into here, into the, I could probably move this out of the way. I'm not sure if you can see the nut that's in there. So this goes into a hole through the post, through a hole into the end of the stretcher, and then it's connecting with a nut. So if you need to take this bench apart and take the stretchers off, just undo that nut a little bit, and this will come out. So that gives you the option there. And this is just sat in there floating. Yeah, nothing too much to report on this. I think we used the top that we did for some photography in the past, and this was a Chris Fitch design contraption, which is different, pretty cool. So we incorporated the top onto the base, saved a little bit of time, so there it is. On to my next project, which is going to be another John Doyle special, which is a kid's game table. So after I finish with all my changing out the light bulbs, and we're going to start changing all the duct work for the dust collector next week when Chris is back in. We'll get going on that. There's all the parts and pieces for that. So that's going to be a nice fun dusty project to partake in, but it needs to be done to make the collection system more efficient. So once that's done, then move on to the next project.
All right.
Thanks.
Did we want to talk about Steve's projects?
Yeah.
Okay, he's got one small one over here. I'll pull up and just set on top of the bench so we have a little bit better viewing. So Steve, I believe last week worked on this project. This is a small box for carving tools. So it looks like it has a little inset tray here with some dividers. What did he end up using for material on this?
I think it's basswood.
Basswood, okay. I remember ordering a bunch of basswood from Liberty, which typically comes from the, I think, Kansas City distributor. So looks like maybe 1/4 inch thick basswood. So really soft, really easy to work with. Looks like there's some hand cut dovetails on the side. Masonite or pressed hardboard bottom for the box, as well as the tray here that's just glued or applied to the framing, and then they did a locking drawer joint for the construction of the tray, and then just some slots or dados for the individual dividers. So just a nice way to, one, practice your hand cut dovetails, but also have a way of organizing some of your smaller carving tools. So if Steve wants to maybe elaborate on that a little bit more next week, we'll let him do that. I don't want to steal his thunder completely. So the other project that Steve just, I wanted to say wrapped up, but got done constructing and applying finish to. He's still waiting on some hardware as well as some laminate for the top. We just got some new tools in the shop, and so we're kind of trying to develop some ideas around storage, organization. Not all tools are created equal, so it gives us a good opportunity to come up with some kind of custom designs to just make the workspace a little bit more efficient. So what Steve has here is a drill press table that goes on a benchtop drill press. It looks like there is a drawer down below, plenty of table space up top. He used 3/4 inch Baltic birch, which is kind of a default for us. It's just a really great material to work with. It holds screws really well, it finishes well. If you want to paint it, you can. In this case, we just applied clear finish, and then we'll put a laminate top to add a little bit of color, but also just have the work surface be a little bit smoother, and get a little bit cleaner look, and again, just makes it a little bit easier to work with. There's a fence on top of it, so nothing overly complicated here. Looks like just some dados and some screws hold it together for the most part. And again, like I said, he's just waiting on some hardware for that, so maybe this time next week we'll see a finished product, whether it's just as is or actually installed on the drill press.
All right.
Other than that, I am still working on some stuff in the computer for 273. Two of my projects have been modeled, drawn, built, and I believe we've talked about those. So I have one other one, talked about them in weeks past. Working on a set of Scottish, well, I shouldn't say a set, I'm doing one. I'm doing a Scottish style level. They're typically a lot smaller in scale. The ones I've seen are anywhere from, we'll say, like 7 inches to 11 inches, but they're just very kind of intimate in scale. But the cool thing about them is they have these very elaborate hand-cut brass detailing on the top as a basically a viewing plate, and there's also some brass inset either on the bottom or on the faces of the level. So a little bit more detail work, adding a little bit of metal. And then moving forward, just working on 274. I know I have a waterfall nightstand, which would be kind of an Art Deco inspired nightstand. And then I'm going to be working on a model, which I'm kind of excited for. It's something that I don't normally think about when designing or even think about as furniture, but we did a train a while back that Chris Fitch, our creative director here, did. And I think it turned out really successful, and we got a lot of positive feedback for that. So more projects to look forward to in the future. Otherwise, I think that's probably enough to talk about today. So this time next week, we'll be back in the shop. So thanks for joining us. Bye, everybody.